Superman and Lois, Season 2, Episode 3, titled The Thing in the Mind. And this episode, I found was good. I thought it was a good episode. I didn't find it was that well compelling as, say, the first two episodes. Mainly because it kind of felt a little bit of cycle repeat, a little bit, where you had, Clark is getting these visions, and he's trying to figure out what these visions means, and while John Henry Irons is investigating the mines and finding out who is this monster inside the mines. And it just felt like a little bit like last week's episode, but the only thing is, okay, the creature feels angry, so Clark's gonna feel angry, where he's lashing out in front of the kids, in front of Jonathan and Jordan, with like glowing red eyes, and looks like he's about to blast his kids away, and making them like scared and fierce and all that. And Clark is like, doesn't know what's going on and why he's acting this in a way that he doesn't even that he would probably never personally actually do. And I said those parts which are pretty well put together. The rest of it just felt really cycle repeat with the Superman Clark Kent storyline. The stuff around it, with the stuff with Lois, where last week we found out that there's a article that she wrote about 10 years ago that's now being a little bit questioned about her reaching her power, and clearly this episode and this season with Lois, the storyline is going to explore cancer culture. It's going to explore the effects of it, what it does to the person, what it does to that person's career, how, basically, a lot, it doesn't, they're all saying the past is the past, it's all focused on the future. Now with social media, the past is now present, and it's, how does that affect when something that you thought was okay, it was so good, and now people are questioning the methods, and it's like, how does that affect it? And with the choreography that Lois has with her dad, and how protective he is with his daughters, because it's all the whole thing of, he doesn't want Lois to be hurtful, he doesn't want to have Lois be lashing out and all that, but also he doesn't want Lucy to feel hurt. All he is in this episode is being a dad. And because he kind of poor job doing it, he's kind of being a little bit too late of it. And that stuff I quite liked. The stuff with, even the stuff with the teenage stuff, the teenage elements of this episode I quite enjoy as well, where you have, in last week's episode, we found out Sarah made that one girl and she liked it. And Jordan, understandably so, he's a little bit taken back from it. It took some time. And he's like, I love her. I think I'm about to marry her. Clark's reaction is, you're 15. You're in high school. You don't know truly if you want to marry her. And I'm like, it's Smallville, dude. It's a small town. Sweet. It's Smallville. They're probably not going to get married at the age of 19 or 18, okay? Let's realistically come here. High school sweetheart marriages. That's basically what is probably built on the families of Smallville. Let's be honest here. But he wants to, like, hey, I love her. I think that's where I tell her everything. Not about the powers, but including who my daddy is. And there's that rivalry and how, he wants, basically, Jordan is tired of lying to Sarah. He really wants the whole, and you can kind of feel the pain and the frustration he has of hiding it. He just wants a no secret thing. While Jonathan is, he's getting a little bit jealous. He's thinking a former team member is taking on the steroids, which I would like at the end, where he's like, I want you to sell me some. I'm like, Jonathan, no, don't sell, don't, God. I'm wondering, secretly, Jonathan, who's like, there's three, as much as like, there's Lois, I think Jonathan is that type of person who wants to be part of the team. He wants to be Clark. He wants to be Jordan. He wants to be powerful and strong and all those like probably cliche male attributes. And he's thinking steroids might be the way to go. No, so he doesn't want to be on the bench because he fought the guy who, was clearly taking the steroids. I quite enjoy that. It's just the Superman element of this episode just felt, really. Even the fight when you have Ozawa, which I was like, I'm sorry, what? Because if you don't know, if you haven't been around on this channel a lot, I'm not a big fan of Ozawa, because I'm like, Ozawa is just a fucking idiot. Okay? Ozawa is like, I'm going to crash into this building. Did I do good? It's like, no, you didn't do good. You didn't do good. You flew into a building and killed a lot of people through to that side of the building to the other side of the building. You did not do good. You flipping idiot. And when I saw like, oh crap, they're doing Bizarro. I mean, the translation to the suit, like the backwards S, the cape being a little bit taller, the lower of the color. I'm like, yeah, that was good. I actually quite liked it. I thought the suits pretty well. They kind of captured the Bizarro look pretty well, and translate it into a live action medium. I'm just curious how they're gonna do it, and I'm like, yeah, and also with the whole Bizarro thing, I'm like, you motherfuckers, you did it again. You thought last season we thought it was like Super, but turns out it was John Henry Irons, and now we thought it was Doomsday, but turns out it's Bizarro. I'm like, oh, so it's Bizarro. How? That's a big suit. Unless Bizarro turns into Doomsday, maybe they'll do that, because each version wants to explain how there's a big giant Hulk-sized thing with bones, and they don't want to do the whole space prison thing, in a space crib. They don't want to do that. So, and they might not want to also rehash stuff that happened in Supergirl just with Superman. So you also got that side of things. But yeah, it's just, I'm really curious how they're going to do Bizarro. Because if it's just a simple thing of like he's just going to act like a flipping idiot and crash into buildings and think he's a hero, but actually he's not because he killed a bunch of people. Yeah, I'll be like, please, this is your villain. But hopefully they translate this character into a better translation of the character. I get it, and also Bizarro is pretty goofy anyway. So he is a pretty of a goofy villain. So it's quite interesting they choose him versus, like, say, something like Toyman or Brainiac or Mongol or Darkseid or I'm trying to think any others. You know what? I'm surprised they haven't yet tapped the what's that, Mr. Oz situation where like Jor-El has been alive the whole time, and he's a dick. The villain is Jor-El himself. Probably I haven't done that. I know it's season 2, but probably I haven't, because that felt very CW. But yeah, now that the reveal has been done, hopefully the story picks up a little bit better. Once again, it's nothing bad. It's nothing horrible. It's just okay. It's a little bit cycle repeat, but I really enjoy all the side character stuff that I quite liked.